The Geth Juggernaut is a tank character that can also be used offensively if built for that purpose. It has 1,000 base health, 2,000 base shields, and a restricted movement, including no ability to run, dodge, or perform cover-related context actions. This class is immune to sync kills. Its light melee is a pulse that repels the enemies, and its heavy melee is a persistent energy drain that restores the shields and keeps unarmored enemies suspended in the air, paralyzed. Unarmored enemies killed by the heavy melee will be destroyed, preventing postmortem explosions. The power set on this character consists of Hex Shield, Siege Pulse, and Geth Turret. The builds of this class can be viewed as a combination of two basic branches: tank builds and offensive builds. Tank builds offer extremely high durability, allowing to shrug off even full enemy onslaughts on gold. The most important tool of those builds is the heavy melee. When fully built for that, it allows to restore almost 1,000 shields per second, while keeping high damage reduction and outright negating some of the attacks. The paralyze feature of the heavy melee can completely disable enemies, such as phantoms or abominations. The main tool of the offensive builds is the Siege Pulse. Simply using its direct damage works somewhat, but it's better to use it as a detonator for disruptor ammo, incendiary ammo, and the Hex Shield. This can turn the class into a proper combo machine. Hex Shield is a static energy barrier that can be spawned immediately ahead of the player. Until destroyed or redeployed, this shield will cause projectiles to splash on it and will block all bullets not imbued with cover penetration, both from player characters and NPCs. Hex Shield has a duration and a pool of hit points. If either drops to 0, the shield will disappear. The strength and duration can be improved by the second evolutions on ranks 4 and 5. The first evolutions, meanwhile, will grant damaging properties to the shield. On rank 6, the first evolution, Damage Synergy, will increase the user's damage while the shield is active, while the second evolution, Large Shield, will make the shield much larger, consisting of 5 segments and covering a bigger area. The damage evolutions, Shock and Pulse, are preferred on ranks 4 and 5. On rank 6, a tank build will use the Large Shield, while an offensive build might consider using Damage Synergy instead. Siege Pulse is a cannon that can be used both offensively and defensively. When used, it generates a number of charges that will be stored until fired. The charges can only be replenished after depleting the current load. By default, 3 charges are generated. The evolutions on rank 4 increase either the power's radius or its damage per target. On rank 5, Evolution A adds a defensive feature to the power. Each shot stored in the platform will give 10 points of damage reduction. Evolution B simply increases the recharge speed. On rank 6, the first evolution, Number of Shots, increases the number of generated charges to 4, while the second evolution, Resistance Damage, increases the damage to non-health targets by more than a half. A tank build will pick damage protection and number of shots. An offensive build can pick any evolution. Damage protection makes the class less vulnerable, but it may prove unnecessary and possible to drop in favor of significant recharge speed. Picking number of shots allows to detonate more combos, while resistance damage allows more direct damage. Rank 4 is a matter of preference on both builds. Geth Turret restores the team's shields and deals minor damage to enemies. When deployed, it will hover in one spot and aim in the direction of the enemies. On this class, the turret has half the normal hit points. On all the ranks, the first evolutions are offensive, increasing the damage and durability of the turret, while the second evolutions increase the amount of restored shields and the range and frequency of this ability. Flamethrower on rank 6 is considered the only good offensive evolution. Even then, shield restore frequency works too. This class has a fitness power of unique effects. The evolutions that increase health and shields will also improve the shield restore from heavy melee. Instead of the usual martial artist functionality, Evolution 5A gives a movement speed bonus after a heavy melee kill. The health and shields bonus of the second evolution on rank 6 is massive, but it comes at the price of a damage debuff. On the contrary, the first evolution on the same rank causes nearby allies to do more damage. The passive power increases the weapon damage by 27.5% if evolved for weapon damage, and weapon damage by 20% and power damage by 45% if evolved for power damage. The weapon damage path also increases the weapon stability and the damage of Geth weapons. On tank builds, the passive power will likely work better if evolved for weapon damage. On offensive builds, it depends on the quality of the weapon. The base weight capacity is 75. This class can be used offensively by either leveraging the massive durability to get close and kill the enemies with short-range high-damage weapons like the Regar, or by combining elemental ammo and Siege Pulse to produce power combos. A build focused on the direct damage of Siege Pulse also works. On the defensive side, very high amounts of damage can be tanked by keeping 4 siege cannon pulses stored within the platform, deploying a shield ahead, a turret behind, and constantly restoring the shields with the heavy melee. This character can serve as a tank, attracting the attention of heavy sync-killing enemies while the rest of the team deals with better targets. A lot of power splits is possible. Some users skip the turret, others keep the turret at rank 3 for ad hoc team help, and drop the last rank of the passive. A team-oriented build may sometimes choose to skip the shield. Geth scanner, armored compartments, and weapon damage equipment can be used as the gear bonus. A tank build will favor cyclonics as the armor bonus, while an offensive build should consider using adrenaline modules instead. Heavy weapons can be used without much drawback. Example weapon setups: Regar with spare thermal clip, high-velocity barrel and incendiary ammo. Typhoon with extended magazine, extended barrel and armor-piercing ammo. Javelin with piercing mod, high-velocity barrel and drill ammo. It is alright to use 2 full-weight weapons. The ammo choice should be dictated by the primary weapon, and adjustments to the weapon mods may be needed to preserve piercing. This class doesn't seem to seriously prefer any enemies or team compositions. Tighter and more simple maps work better because of the low movement speed.